Meta's new policies: open gate to hate. Here are some of the horrible things that you can say. Meta now lets users say women are household objects. Oh my God. Yeah, bro, like there's an overcorrection.
Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram and Threads, has ignited controversy with sweeping changes to its moderation policies. The new guidelines allows users to accuse LGBTQ individuals of mental illness, shocking many who once viewed Meta as an ally. This dramatic shift starkly contrasts with the platform's 2021 ban of Donald Trump for inciting violence.
Meta was never on your side. Zuckerberg isn't. It's not like he nowadays. It's not like he just randomly started doing jiu-jitsu and tanning and now he's a bro and he cares about the Constitution. He never cared about it. He doesn't care about it now. He cares about being congruent with what the leadership of the company wants him to do.
Violence.
He's a survivor.
January 6th Capitol
That's what
riots.
he is.
Critics have called the move a dangerous rollback of protections for marginalized groups. Here's more on the about face by the social media giant.
Yeah.
Social media platforms bridge gaps and connect people
It's
worldwide.
crazy for me to see Instagram and not see it filled up with hoes. Like, why do you even have Instagram if that's not what you use it for? I can't even imagine that. Like, yeah, really. I mean, I don't get it.
However, they also serve as tools for hate, misinformation, and abuse.
Oh, here we go. Misinformation again.
And Meta's latest policy changes have raised significant concerns, especially among the LGBTQ+ community and human rights groups. This Tuesday, Meta updated its moderation guidelines for Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. The changes now allow accusations of mental illness against LGBTQ+ individuals, specifically regarding their gender identity or sexual orientation. If that wasn't enough, Meta's revamped guidelines will now also tolerate terms like weird, address women to...
I mean, like, what is this hall monitor shit? Comma, non-serious usage of the words weird? So you can say that being gay or being transgender is weird now? Oh my God.
Like weird.
Wow.
Address women to be household objects and black people as farm equipment. Of course, just like many other times, Meta justified this move and cited political and religious discourse around homosexuality and transgenderism.
So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content.
Yep.
But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts.
Farm equipment is crazy. No, what's crazy is the fact that that's the abbreviated term that they use. I've been on the internet a long time. Like, that's not the full thing that they say.
To millions of people, and we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech.
Yep.
So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Policy should be temporary.
This adjustment has sparked outrage among advocacy groups, which accuse Meta of enabling hate speech.
Well, they are. They are enabling hate speech. That's absolutely what they're doing. But hate speech is protected under the First Amendment. That's the way it is. And I think that the majority, I do think it's the majority of people, at least here in the US. I don't trust Facebook or Instagram or Twitter to tell me what the rules are for what I can and can't say. I didn't elect them. They're not accountable to me. These are companies that have no accountability, no loyalty, no sense of accountability to the American people at all. I do not want these fucking people telling me what I can and can't say. That's it. I don't want them making these decisions. It's a private company that can control anything you want. It's not about whether they can or not. Everybody knows that they can. It's about whether you think it's a good idea or not. Saying something can happen, yeah, of course it can happen. That's why you support TikTok over them. Well, I support all of them because it's freedom of speech. That's it. Yeah, it's the First Amendment. It's that simple.
Without these necessary hate speech and other policies, Meta is giving the green light for people to target LGBTQ people, women, immigrants, and other marginalized groups with violence, vitriol, and dehumanizing narratives. With these changes, Meta is continuing to normalize anti-LGBTQ hatred for profit at the expense of its users and true freedom of expression.
No, that's not true freedom of expression. People can say anything positive they want. Like saying, I don't like this logic that people are using now, that because people can disagree with them, there's no longer freedom of expression. Well, it's like if your ideas can only exist in an ecosystem where they can't be attacked, then I don't think that it's almost like, so in order to have freedom of expression, other people can't express themselves. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Meta's overhaul extends beyond LGBTQ+ issues. The company has also scrapped policies prohibiting insults based on race, ethnicity, national origin, disability, and gender identity.
Yeah, big surprise.
I think that this is a bit politically motivated.
And then also, like, so there's another huge component about this that's, like, really big, is that when you have the politicians and the rhetoric in the country politically that is discussing these topics, and if you can't discuss these topics on social media loses its value. So because the culture has shifted a lot towards people being more accepting of, opinions that people would say would be discriminatory or hateful, if you can't platform different politicians that are saying that stuff, well, here's what's going to really happen. Those politicians are going to get together and they're going to make a law and they're going to destroy your company. That's what's going to happen. Because now that they're in control, if you start banning all of them, they're just going to remove your Section 230 and destroy your entire company overnight. And do you think Trump would do that? Absolutely, he would do that. And you know what he probably would do? He probably wouldn't do it. He'd just say he was going to do it, massively tank their stock, and then not even do it in the first place.
But I also think that there has been a huge push worldwide for these changes to happen. The oversight board, for example, with Meta was an interesting experiment. And obviously, it's not going to continue in its current form, but there will be implications from it. And I think
after the major policy reforms, CEO Mark Zuckerberg also announced a major shift in fact-checking.
Yep, big surprise.
Zuckerberg explained Meta will replace its trusted organizational partners with a community-driven system similar to X's community notes.
First, we're going to get rid of fact-checkers and replace them with community notes,
we already saw this
similar to X, starting in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system.
Yeah, we looked at this already.
Meta's current stand contrasts sharply with its previous policies.
What a surprise.
In 2021, the company suspended President-elect Donald Trump's accounts on Facebook and Instagram for 24 hours and then extended the ban for 2 years.
Yeah, see, this is about, remember this? This is a real good time. And anyway, so the fact is that Meta and these companies are like nothing next to the government. And this is why, you want to know why every single one of these companies, the biggest companies in the world, immediately cuck to China? Because China has a military. Meta doesn't have a military. That's it. Like, think about it, right? They can go and just take over the entire building, kill everybody in the building, and there's nothing that the company can do about it. That's it. These companies have no actual power over the government. The only power that they have is hopefully convincing greedy senators to act in their best interest. And then they say it's never going to happen. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, that's real power. Like, these companies have money, the government has power.
This action followed posts he made during the US Capitol riots, which were deemed a severe violation of Meta's rules. But with the latest policy changes, similar posts may not likely see a ban on the account and would be corrected by community notes instead.
Yeah, which is a smart way to do it.
These recent developments signal a U-turn in Meta's approach to moderation. Policies that once protected users from hate and abuse now appear relaxed. For example, while the former US president faced consequences for inciting unrest, today's changes suggest greater leniency towards harmful speech. But who doesn't want to be friends with the president? It seems like Zuckerberg is doing everything to join Trump's inner circle, even if it means more hate speech online.
That's right. That's exactly what's happening.
From meeting the president-elect at his Florida residence to the company donating $1 million for his second inauguration, the tech giant is doing everything to be in Trump's good books, including appointing hardcore Trump supporters to its board, like UFC CEO Dana White.
Community notes is a better system. I think it is too.
Meta's policy changes have profound implications for online discourse. By allowing targeted accusations and removing protective guidelines, the platform risks becoming a breeding ground for hate and misinformation.
It will be. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. For sure.
Once a champion of safeguarding speech, Meta now faces accusations of abandoning its responsibilities. And critics ask, how far will Zuckerberg go with his political agendas?
He doesn't have a political agenda. He has a financial agenda. And that agenda aligns with the people that are in power. So if you want Mark Zuckerberg to go back on these changes and apologize for them, elect a Democrat in 4 years. Problem solved. He'll immediately go back on it and change everything back to the way it was. To a large amount of people's information. Lizard Boy's part of the crew now. He's trying
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies.
There it is. He's pretending. Well, no, it's not that he's pretending now and he wasn't pretending then. He's pretending now and he was pretending then. Zuckerberg called his own people dumb fucks for giving them their information in like 2010. He doesn't give a fuck about any of this stuff. He just wants to make money and run the company and have it be as popular as possible. He doesn't give a shit in the first place. Society has a responsibility for changing corporations, not the other way around. I agree. And I think that to the extent that corporations try to change the government, they put themselves in an adversarial role against the government. And if you put yourself in an adversarial role against the government, don't be surprised if they retaliate. And that's what they're really afraid of. Especially because, and this is what the big problem is, these social media companies can only exist because of privileges that different, different laws give them. I think Section 230 is the best example of that, but there's a lot of other examples that exist as well. So all of these companies exist under these privileges. So if the government takes those privileges away, they effectively destroy the entire company. Yeah, we have to eliminate company political donations. It's killing America. Yeah, I agree with you too. I think that's absolutely true. I much prefer him to be fake on my side than fake on their side. Well, I think that's the way a lot of people are feeling it. I'll look at some clips from the, he did an interview with Mark Zuckerberg too about it, and we'll look at it. And here's the thing, is that he's right.
On that side, we just basically got to this point where there were these things that you just like couldn't say, which were mainstream discourse, right? So, you know, it's like Pete Hegseth is...
That's exactly right. Yeah, it is a mainstream viewpoint now that people want to deport every single person who is non-American, right? Like any person, if like you're an illegal immigrant, it doesn't matter if you're like a grandma, they want to get rid of you. It is a mainstream opinion now that transgender is not a legit thing and it should not be near kids. This is a mainstream opinion. Now, you might not want it to be a mainstream opinion, but it is one. And so if they don't follow along with that, then they're going against the tide. And at the end of the day, they're a platform. They can't control what people think. They can try, but they can't really.
Going to, probably be defending his nomination for Secretary of Defense on the Senate
Thank
floor.
You for the 5 gifted.
And I think one of the points that he's made is that he thinks that women shouldn't be able to be in certain combat roles. And until we updated our policies,
and this also, I think, is a majority opinion too. If you were to ask, I think that the majority of people, do you think that women should be in combat roles in like the military? I bet most people would say no.
Have been a thing that you could have said on our platforms because it would call for the exclusion of a protected category of people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, okay, like on its face, calling for the exclusion of a protected category, that seems that like that's okay, there's like legal protections, there's all this stuff, but okay, if it's like okay to say on the floor of Congress, you should probably be able to debate it on social media.
Yeah.
So I think some of the stuff, I think well-intentioned.
And this is also another component, is that if you can't talk about these issues on Meta, on Facebook or Instagram, people are going to go to Twitter to talk about them. So if people want to talk about these things in an honest way, they're going to go to platforms that they can do that on. So it's also making sure that they're congruent and keeping up with their competition.
Too far needs to just get rationalized a bit. On that side, we just basically got to this point where there were these things that you just like couldn't say, which were mainstream discourse.
Gender, is it all a sexual notion? Isn't a thing for kids in the first place? I don't want to debate whether you think trans is real or not. I don't care what you think. I don't. I don't give a shit. It's not, I'm not debating about this. If you want to think it's real, why? Because other people's opinions of somebody's gender identity is of no consequence to me. I don't give a shit. It's that simple. Why are these folks focusing on trans when it's less than 1% worldwide? They view it, so the reason why, it's actually super simple. The reason why is because it's like a watermark for where somebody's thinking is at. And it's like an indicator for whether somebody is thinking in a way that people agree with or not. That's the reason why.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this
point. And you can see why. I mean, like, if I was Mark Zuckerberg, here's the truth, and tell me if you do the same thing. I'd do what he did. Do you think he wants to go to war with the White House? Fuck no, he doesn't want to go to war with the White House. Absolutely not. Bro, he fell in line instantaneously. Hell not? Yeah, exactly. Too much stress? Yeah.
Point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a
pointing that they're getting bent out of shape about a Leonardo. Oh my God, this is sad. Wow.
TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. We just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And
yeah.
they pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, you know, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down.
That's crazy. Wow.
And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration. I think these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like
we saw part of this already. There's more of it. I'll see if I can look at the rest of it. And also, while rolling back restrictions on insulting transsexuals, gays, and immigrants, Meta will retain its ban on Holocaust denial, criticism of Zionists, and Jewish power. I don't really see the logic in this. I don't. So if you can be racist, why can't you be negative against Israel? What is this? What's going to it's hypocritical? It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's money? I guess so. Well, either way, whatever reason it is fucking wrong. There's misinformation about vaccines on all sides. The truth is vaccines are good and 99% safe. If I had a kid, I would get my kid all of the vaccinations. All of the like polio vaccine, whooping cough, I think that's another one. Any of that stuff, I would get them all of those vaccinations. Now, I personally didn't take the COVID vaccine. The reason for that is actually very simple. It's because I'm a little fucking bitch that has to get worried about anything medical at all. And so it actually had nothing to do with like whether the vaccine was good or not. I just am afraid of doing things that are medical and getting injections, right? Like last time I had a blood test, I had a fucking panic attack. And so that's the real reason. But yeah, if I had a kid, I would get them vaccinated as well, for sure. And I think also, then why wouldn't you be afraid for your kid? Because I think that my feeling is irrational. And I know that it's irrational. I think it's a phobia rather than a like a logical perspective. That's the reason why. And I would want to make a good decision for somebody else, even though I know that I'm making a bad decision myself. Yeah, it's really simple. Like, and I don't want to I don't want to project my own mental illnesses onto other people. One of the worst things that you can do is to make other people carry your cross, especially if it's a really stupid cross. So yeah, that's the way that I feel about it. And it's just really that simple. Some people believe in the COVID vaccine will make you traceable, and that's a conspiracy. Of course, they're doing that to try to stop those people. I think that's fine. If you want to say the COVID vaccine, puts like a chip in you, I don't see that being a problem. Like, why shouldn't you be able to say that? Like, yeah, I mean, if it's a problem, then the company that makes it can sue you for defamation. It's the same like, Dominion sued Fox and they got a lot of money. So yeah, I mean, it's freedom of speech, even if it's stupid, right? That's it. Anyway, let me see if I can find the rest of this. Fuck. There we go. All right. See if I can find any more clips of this. I think that there's been many of the other ones. Let me see if I can do Rogan. See if there's any more of this that's worth reading. Did you hear they're vaccinating cows and not giving it through their milk? I don't understand. Like, I am not an expert in vaccines. If you want to go back and if you look at all of my coverage and everything with the COVID vaccine, with COVID in general, I don't think you can probably find a single instance of me telling somebody to get vaccinated or not to get vaccinated. I am not a doctor. I am not a chemist. I am not a scientist. I don't know the answer to that. Make your own decision or listen to somebody who is. That's it. Yeah, just forgetting it. Yeah, fence sitter. Well, yeah. Of course I'm going to be a fence sitter. That's the smart thing to do. Of course. I fence sit on tons of things because I don't want to have an opinion on this and be wrong. I'm not going to carry your cross. If you want me to think something, then I don't care. Yeah, it's whatever. And I know people that got their lives destroyed because of the COVID vaccine. Oh, it's too bad. Let's see.
At the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh, no, you have to wear a mask. And, everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And I'm generally pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative.
I think that's what 99% of people think. Maybe not 99, but I think that his perspective, for sure. Definitely. Unvaxxed purebloods. I do think that the pureblood meme is really funny. I have to say it. I think it's funny.
But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And
that's what really fucked up the trust. That's what I actually think that if COVID was handled differently, Biden probably would be the president still. Well, I mean, he would have won the presidency. I think that the way that they handled COVID destroyed so much trust in the government that it totally radicalized millions of people. No, I really think so. I actually think that COVID was a massive fucking thing. Hell no? Okay. All right. And hey, the thing is that a lot of you guys are bringing up groceries and everything like that. Millions of retards, you mean? Yeah. Just remember the way that I think about things. I think of the dumbest way that you can imagine things, and I assume that's the way most people think about it.
They pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically
this is what we saw before. There's a lot of these that are kind of overlaps.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and
we saw all of this shit too. And I feel like this is, Also Facebook, no absolution without repentance, push super hard. I'm just trying to make sure there's no other clips that are worth reading or worth looking at. But that's it. It's all the same clip. Yeah, it sure seems like it. Sure seems like it is. Unfortunately. But, yeah. Oh, here we go.
Probably in 2025, we at Meta, as well as the other companies that are basically working on this, are going to have an AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code. And once you have that, then in the beginning it'll be really expensive to run, and then you can get it to be more efficient. And then over time we'll get to the point where a lot of the code in our apps and including the AI that we generate is actually going to be built by AI engineers instead of people engineers. Probably in 20...
Man. That's nuts. What a surprise. That was a great appearance from Mark. He came across as very reasonable. I've never much liked him. Yeah, he's done a really good job rebuilding his reputation. He's gone from lizard to based in the minds of a lot of people very quickly. Surprisingly quickly, even. He's gone from lizard to based so quickly, I think that he just might be a lizard. Yeah, I feel like this is too fast for a human. Yeah, this is the real evidence of him being a lizard right here. It's spineless, though. It's not spineless at all. If you run a company, you're going to cuck to the government. You are. Because you can't. I understand everybody wants to be like, oh, well, he should have fought back against them. He did everything that he could. He's not going to win against the government. That's it. He blows to the wind. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, that's it. Little shapeshifter. Yeah, adapt, overcome. Exactly. Did he? Well, what do you like? So, what do you think would have happened if he didn't comply with the government? What do you think they would have done? Maybe they could have arrested him for knowingly having CP in the game, or sorry, in the on the website, for not doing enough to get rid of child sexual abuse material. Immediately put him on trial for it, because I guarantee you that's what somebody like Trump would do. Absolutely. Yeah, he'd be persecuted instantly. There are a million ways that they can do that. I forgot authority. Authority always wins. It's not authority, it's power. The government has a military, Meta doesn't. They will always cuck to the fucking government. Every single time. He's not a publisher, why would he get arrested? It wouldn't matter. See, you don't understand. You think that it matters whether they win or not. It doesn't. The fact that it happened at all will completely destroy the reputation of the company indefinitely. All they have to do is do it. They don't even have to win. They can lose and it still destroys the company. Elon Musk proves you wrong. I mean, I don't know what would have happened to him if Biden had won again or Kamala had won again. The benefits of masculinity. What is this?
And I think it's another to basically say that masculinity is bad. And I just think we kind of swung culturally to that part of the kind of the spectrum where, you know, it's all like, okay, masculinity is toxic. We have to like get rid of it completely. It's like, no, like it's both of these things are good, right? It's like you want like feminine energy, you want masculine energy. Like I think that's like you're going to have parts of society that have more of one or the other. I think that that's all good, but
sure.
But I do think the corporate culture sort of had swung towards being this somewhat more neutered thing.
Well, yeah, of course, and I think because those are the people that are running HR. No fucking shit. Obviously. It's common sense. Yeah, he's energy pilled. He's not a lizard. Oh, you think so? Need accountability? His main company is not X. It's tiny part of his portfolio. SpaceX and Tesla are totally literal government cut companies. Yeah, exactly. Are all the amendments created equal? For example, the First Amendment is virtually impossible to change, but the 30th isn't. I think the top 10 people take more seriously because it's referred to as like the Bill of Rights. But anyway, I do think that it's hypocritical that you can't criticize Zionism and you can't criticize Jewish people, but you can criticize other groups of people. I think that if you want to have a policy that allows you to criticize groups of people, it has to be either everybody or nobody. And if you try to pick out like groups that it's okay with and not okay with, it's a huge fucking problem. And all this is going to do is it's going to multiply the amount of anti-Semitism that happens. Because right now, when somebody's anti-Semitic in like a stupid way, everybody calls it out and they're like, oh, this is dumb, right? This is stupid. But like, if you can't talk about it, these people are just going to get more radicalized. That's the way I see it. Do you agree with the Holocaust rule? No, I don't. I don't. If somebody wants to say that it's fake, I don't think that they should get their account banned for it. I think it's stupid to say that the Holocaust was fake, but I think people have a right to be stupid. It's pretty simple. Yeah, that's their right to be stupid. Yeah, why is it being censored? Yeah, people can say 9/11 was fake. People say the Gulf of Tonkin was fake. People say the moon landing was fake. People say every single other event that's happened in history is fake. Why can't you say this one's fake? Come on. And this is coming from somebody who thinks that they're full of shit. But of course, you should be able to express yourself. I know that a lot of you guys really want me to be a subscriber of like the Jewish supremacy thing. I'm not. I'm not. I don't think like that. I think it's silly. I think it's I don't know if I should say this. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Do you know how, like, a lot of times people that are, like, minorities get together and they say that the reason why the government is bad is because it's, like, white supremacy? I think that's really stupid. And I think a bunch of white people getting together and that are saying that these things are bad because of Jewish supremacy, I think it's the same thing. It's just a group of people complaining and getting mad because they're not getting what they want out of a system. It's the exact same thing. Stop blaming groups of people. Not all Jews behave at a monolith in the same way that all white people behave in a monolith. It's ridiculous. It's an oversimplification. And I think that this is also another really big problem too, is that the more that you focus on about how bad Jews are, the fact is that there's plenty of people that are not Jewish that I'm sure have things that you don't like also. And it gives people the ability to create a scapegoat and then not focus on what the real problem is. And so if you want to say all of these people are bad, I think that that lowers people's guard to the people that aren't part of that group that also are bad. So that's the way that I look at it. Do you guys see what I'm saying? It's narrow-minded, yeah. And so, yeah, what I'm saying is, like, not only is it stupid and misguided, but I think that it creates a blind spot for bad actors that aren't part of that group to take advantage of you with you having an implicit level of trust. So, yeah, I don't agree with it. And if you do, if you're one of these, like, weird, like, Holocaust denier people, I'm not going to argue with you or fight with you about it. I don't care. But that's just what my opinion is.